Coming up, a creepy basement gets even creepier. There's nothing quite like a relaxing afternoon of antiquing, but be warned, certain entities have a habit of latching on to some of these old objects from time to time. And if you specifically go after relics that are creepy and macabre, well, you're practically inviting these troublesome spirits into your home. Such was the experience of one collector in Milwaukee, and she will never forget it. In spring of 2019, Cheri Esperon was being plagued by mysterious noises throughout her home. There were disembodied voices, footsteps, and things falling off shelves. Suspecting it might have something to do with her collection of ghoulish relics in the basement, she and a friend set up a video camera to see if they could catch anything out of the ordinary. They put the camera here, in front of this clock on the mantle, and next to this motion-activated doll to the right. Then, they left the room. That creepy voice you just heard belongs to the motion-activated doll. Remember, there is no one in the room. When Cheri returned to the room a short while later, she reviewed the footage and was shocked.
I'm Cheri Esperon, and I recorded the video at my home. When I first saw it, I couldn't believe it, but more than anything, I was pretty excited because it kind of gave a little credence to the stories I'd been telling, of things that I was hearing and seeing and feeling in the basement. I've always been interested in the weird and macabre, the oddities, and I decided to recreate my basement into an oddities room and started collecting items from estate sales, flea markets.
It was at that point that the strange occurrences in her home began.
We would hear walking around. I've had voices come up and whisper "Mom" in my ear. I always just chalked that off to overactive imagination. But when things started falling and breaking, I needed an answer.
And the clearest message that Cheri received from the ghosts attached to the objects came from the creepy, talking doll.
When the doll goes, "I'm watching you," and giggles. I mean, that was crazy.
And the fact that the doll's motion sensors went off is proof that something was in the room.
I mean, that is like pretty awesome because these motion sensors, they don't really know how to lie. They sense motion or they don't.
There was a force of some kind, living or dead, in that room that had to set off that motion-sensitive doll.
It seems that it is possible for a spirit or entity to set off a motion detector. I've seen many investigations where one of these devices are actually triggered by an unseen force that a lot of people assume is a spirit.
And about that framed butterfly plaque.
The butterflies were purchased at an estate sale. There were hundreds upon thousands of butterflies at this estate sale. You could definitely say that whoever had those butterflies loved them and they could still be attached to them.
And upon closer inspection, it seemed as though there was someone or something attached to it. Watch closely as a shadow seems to cross the room before and just after the framed butterflies falls off the wall.
What really bothers me, intrigues me, excites me, is that you can actually tell it goes behind and in front of the chair.
At first, I thought the shadow was just somebody walking behind the camera. But thankfully, and to the credit of the people taking the video, they give you a 360 view of the room. So for the skeptics who go, okay, I know what that is, you see that there's really not a lot of space for someone to be there. And there's no light source that's casting in such a way to create such a shadow. So if the logical reason is not the correct one, we have to consider that, all right, maybe it was supernatural.
And just to make sure that what they caught on camera was legitimately paranormal, Cheri and her friend conducted a few tests.
Smack the cabinet.
What I really like about this video is they actually go through the steps to try to debunk some of the activity that they captured. They poke the doll. They actually slap the picture on the wall, trying to see if any of these things are faulty and maybe it could fall down.
I'm still trying to find a way to disprove it because it's pretty unbelievable.
Though still not quite a believer, Cheri has come to terms with what might be happening in her basement.
I will probably continue to still try to find a rational reason for the video. I'm comfortable with it, though it doesn't scare me. Now that I've yelled and stomped and said, quit breaking my stuff has stopped breaking. So at least that's a positive.
If it was me, I would be afraid. I really wouldn't want to just have this thing hanging around my house. I might get rid of all the creepy stuff in my basement, or maybe try and just get rid of it through other means.